Caution, entertainment banter uses language that might be inappropriate for some listeners, so watch out. You're going to have a blast.
Welcome back to Entertainment Banter. This is Joel and this is Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
So,
All right,
today?
today. You're excited. Let's get right into it. It's going to be this is a big random discussion that I've got planned for us. I want to talk about entertainment with the comic world, and particularly Hollywood, movies, television, and comics in the past couple of years, particularly this amazing franchise that has been built by Marvel and some DC. And I think what's interesting, too, I'm going to go jump right into this.
Jumping right in.
I only got 25 minutes. Got to get all in. We were talking about it before we started the show. Smallville was the first kind of real superhero show that kind of came out in the last couple of years, decade or so ago. And it was not very popular. Some people watched it. It seemed very teeny bopperish to me. But I think it started the birth of bringing superheroes back in the limelight, because I don't know if you know, but like back in the 80s, you had like shows like the Hulk, they had Wonder Woman.
You're talking so fast, man.
I'm going. We got to get all in. Got to get all in. They had all of those other shows, you know. So I just wanted to talk about how it went from nothing to something. It seems like kind of overnight, with the idea of starting out with just a TV show, and then DC started to do some movies. Like they started to bring in
like stepping up their game a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We got some Christopher Nolan Batmans. They started out with Superman Returns, you know, those types of movies, which was supposed to end the Christopher Reeve story arc, and it was just kind of like one-hit wonders here and there. Fox started bringing.
Did you just call that a one-hit wonder?
Yeah.
Because I think it was a one-hit. Let's forget about
sinker.
it.
But you know what I mean.
But I'm just saying, like, Smallville is like was started like a whole new audience, another genre of superhero franchise.
And in my personal opinion, Smallville was more of a teeny bopper show, like a Dawson's Creek than superhero.
That's why I never watched it.
But it was like the one. It was like the one card they threw out there. Hey, I got an idea. Let's do Dawson's Creek, but with capes. You know, and it somehow slowly took off. But it's interesting how that started it, and then Fox would start doing certain movies, and
because all the studios started picking
Spider-Man
up. They started picking up the rights to these to the Marvel,
X-Men,
to all the superheroes, to the comic books. They're picking up because they saw that.
And,
was it that? Let me ask you. Was it the Batman Beyond? Was it the Christopher Nolan movies came first before Marvel? No, X-Men and all those came first.
I think X-Men, like Hulk, Spider-Man, and what's interesting too is
Spider-Man
they were movies that were, I think, before Disney bought the rights to Marvel. They were just pumping out random movies,
which was after Iron Man 1.
Yes,
when they bought it.
Yes, but Iron Man 1 was a part of all of that.
Disney was a part of it, but they didn't own Marvel yet.
Yes. So getting right into it, I think what's interesting is in the comic world too, just so people know, in the last couple of years they reinvented it. With DC reinvented it, they called it the New 52. And a lot of fans were annoyed by that because they reinvented the story arcs, especially like Batman, and there was continuity issues, like when Tim Drake was around and so on and so forth. So some people liked it, some people didn't. But the point is, they reinvented the comic book franchise right around the same time they started doing all these movies and TV shows. Same thing with Marvel. Marvel did the same exact thing.
But it's interesting they're choosing a different story. They're choosing story arcs from the past comics for these.
Yes.
For the film. For this movie cinematic universe.
Exactly. So what we have right now is Marvel and DC. Let's face it. Let's focus on those two.
Those are the two.
Those are the two
giants right there. We got Marvel. Giants, we got DC.
And they are obviously butting heads in competition. You know.
Of course, they've been doing that for decades.
Forever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So right now, let's talk about DC first.
Okay.
All right. You have DC. Christopher Nolan Batmans. I personally enjoyed them.
Amazing.
Yes. However, I remember being in an airport and hearing a couple of guys bring up valid points and just bashing the living crap out of the continuity in the story arc. Like Bruce Wayne, for example, the third one, pretty much is thrown in the towel after the whole Joker thing. He's all beat and battered up, but I guess he fought the major villain, the Joker, and Two-Face, so now he doesn't fight crime anymore. He's just, the little crimes don't matter. He's just going to hide, you know, in his little mansion with his cane. You know, I don't know. So some of the points that I overheard that day, I was like, I didn't want to hear them because they had good points. But overall, I thought those stories were amazing, absolutely amazing. The only thing I was frustrated with was I really wanted that story arc to continue. I didn't like the idea of setting up the new Batman, people, you know, under the influence of Robin, you know, like at the very end in the cave, like passing the torch that way. I thought it was okay, But
I just got chills. I don't know. I just thought of that. I'm like, oh, that's a cool part.
Well, see, you liked it. See, I didn't.
Well,
I wanted to see the family grow. Like we had such a great foundation. I wanted to. No one has ever seen Bruce Wayne and his wards grow as a family. And they actually, getting back to the 52, the one time I actually appreciated it was in the comics. They did kind of show that in the 52 a little bit more. They really did focus on family. But
don't you think that that's where DC, not DC, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could say DC, where they started to drop the ball. If you think about it, because the Batman movies were amazing, right?
they were absolutely.
They were only Christian Bale was only signed to do 3 movies.
Yes.
Christopher Nolan only planned on doing a trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the whole idea. And that's probably why there's all these continuity. Literally, he was supposed to go through the whole Batman universe kind of thing in 3 movies, and he did. He kind of went through it,
Right.
And he made them amazing. He made them spectacular.
And they had bumps along the way.
And
because
of course,
people died.
But they're so good. But during that time, Marvel.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to get into Marvel yet, but they started releasing their movies, and this is where Disney got on, and they started signing on these guys on contracts for at least 9 movies.
Yes. I think
that's where they got it, because then they can make this universe. DC doesn't own. DC's not owned by a movie company. DC's its individual company that has rights with Warner Brothers and whoever else wants to take rights, like the CW. The CW is Warner Brothers as well.
Right.
But they sell their rights to anybody. Fox is a whore. They just buy any movie.
Well, they just want to make money.
Yeah.
God bless them.
God bless Fox.
Wow. Everyone loves to hate on Fox, but in the end, they've actually pumped out some pretty good stuff and given a lot of other people opportunities that normally they would not have had.
Of course.
Including Star Wars, for example. That was a huge one. Can you imagine? I'm curious to actually get way outside of Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel now. And Marvel Comics are doing Star Wars. So quickly, I'd be curious to see if Fox has anything to do with that. If it's straight up Disney. Because so many people are used to hearing that fanfare in the beginning of the films.
Yeah, you're not going to see the dun dun dun, whatever, the Fox 20th century. Was funny, All
right, we're getting off subject though. We're not talking about Star Wars.
Wow, I didn't even thought about that. That's going to be an interesting movie for The Force Awakens. But anyways,
but getting back to what you were saying,
we can talk about that another day.
Getting back to what you were saying, because Superman Returns also kind of filled in those gaps a little bit. But I think it's interesting how when DC started to make those films, you're right. I think it was just kind of like one-hit wonders in a way. Even if they're trilogies, they were one-hit wonders. They weren't expected to go anywhere.
They didn't want to go anywhere.
And it's interesting how
they didn't try to link them to others.
It's interesting how DC just thought that would be enough. It's almost like taking a page out of Fox, really. Like Fox, because their contracts are they have to make so many movies a year of those characters they own the rights to, or they lose the rights. Every 5 years, they got to do Spider-Man. Every 5 years, you got to do a
They don't own Spider-Man. It's X-Men.
Well, X-Men too.
Spider-Man was Sony.
Sony, sorry, right.
Same kind of
Sony.
contract.
Same contract. But so, in a way, it cheapens the franchise when you have a studio that's in charge of a brand, and the only reason why they make movies is to hold on to that brand.
And it's also like, we own Batman, so Batman's going to make money regardless of how we deal with it. Like, you just put, it's almost like saying, like, you're putting the title on there and it doesn't give a shit what the hell the content is.
And I am a huge Batman lover, but if I see a crying Bruce Wayne in the middle of a dark alley one more fucking time, beep,
we're going to see it again in this Superman versus Batman.
It's ridiculous. Like, we don't need to see his origin story any freaking more.
I'm glad that at least they're saying that the new Superman versus Batman movie is in the same universe of the Nolan movies.
Okay.
So I think, don't quote me on this, I got to look this up again, but Nolan is producing this movie, I think.
Yeah.
So he has some influence in it. So it's supposed to be like 30 years after the the Bane incident.
Yes.
So
he's supposed to be like the Dark Knight era, where Bruce is older, maybe looking more towards
Nightwing's already
retirement.
existed. All that shit's already happened. Batgirl's supposed to be out there. He's coming out of retirement, and this is the Justice League.
Which, by the way, is like, if you want to talk about dropping the ball, I think DC, when it comes to the film industry, obviously because we're going to talk more about Marvel later, has dropped the ball so hard, it's not even funny. And like, that's a perfect example. Justice League. They're trying to build Justice League when Bruce Wayne is at retirement age.
Well, that's what if you ever watch the cartoon, that's where he was. Nightwing was already old. Like
they
didn't retire him.
He wasn't old. Because that's the whole reason why I like the idea of the wards coming in at such a young age, because Bruce Wayne was in his early 20s when he started getting his wards. It wasn't like he was 45 when he got the first couple of them. And you got to remember too, a lot of stuff has happened in this very short amount of time. So I find that very interesting. But anyways,
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that they made the Superman versus Batman movie in an attempt to compete against the Avenger movies?
absolutely,
And like, do you
absolutely,
think they're kind of rushing it?
absolutely. Because if you look at it, if they had done it right, they would have introduced each character like Marvel did individually, probably had their own movies, and then over time, you grew to love these characters, and they started to develop. Like I can't even tell you how amazing Marvel did this. The way they planned it out and put their movies in order. They foreshadowed. They threw stuff in, even if they knew they may not were going to use certain characters for certain. They would tease you with a prop like a shield or something or a character cameo at the very end of the credits. They were. And if you never used it in the films later, it doesn't matter. They planted those seeds, and I think with DC,
Well, you don't want to see those origin stories again and again. We've already seen Superman. We've
right.
already seen Batman, and I think that's why they're going with those two
Well, I
characters.
think that's what bothers me is they spent so much time and effort in Man of Steel building up his origin, which is fine. I appreciate
Man
if you're
of
gonna
Steel.
yes, the Superman
Is that
movie.
the newest movie?
Yeah, the newest
Oh,
one.
okay.
Like they give you the origin story, and I don't mind that if you do it one and done. You know what I mean? Especially if the franchise is going to grow. Seeing it over and over and over again, like we were talking about, is a problem. That's when they reinvent the franchises.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. But if you actually were to maintain that franchise like Marvel's doing and build off of that, it would be great. And they did that for Man of Steel. I thought they did a great job with it. I thought they did a great job with Batman's Christopher Nolan's. If they had took those foundations and started building on those, it would have been amazing. And they kind of are with Man of Steel a little bit.
And with Justice League, they're
But
trying
but
to.
Justice League feels so rushed. We are seeing.
We don't know yet though, and there's Wonder
It's
Woman
true.
in it too. They just
Wonder
throw in the
Woman.
trailer.
Well, and there's rumors that other Justice League characters are going to appear and make cameos, and I think it's just too fast too soon. They are
And
literally sprinting to try to
and
catch up
it's
to Marvel.
sad too because I hear Flash and Green Arrow.
That's a
Archer.
great point.
Green Arrow and Flash are also on the CW right now.
Yes.
And their universe is mix,
Yes.
which is amazing, and it's like a start to that. But they don't touch anything with the movies.
Well, that's
and
a great point.
It's sad they don't because Marvel. If you take a page from Marvel,
Yeah.
everything connects.
Absolutely. Well, and that's I don't want to talk too much more about Marvel just yet because
I know I get it. We can get into
we will
more,
get the
yeah.
last part of the show will be all Marvel.
It will
but
be.
I want to touch on that though because it's a great point. The Flash is one of the major characters of the Justice League.
Yes.
And to ignore that character or to
we don't know they're going to ignore him
or reinvent him. So you have one.
It's going to be different from the CW,
you have two choices.
of course.
You have two choices. You can either take that Flash from the CW show and throw him in these Justice League movies.
They're probably not going to.
Which they probably won't do. So at which point they're going to reinvent some new actor to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in my opinion, just taints that world even further. It just shows how sloppy they put this thing together.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unfortunate because if you it's almost interesting because if you were to watch the CW shows and compare that with the Marvel movies, they could almost be the same. At least with the shows that they're doing, they have the potential to create a wonderful world in TV. They did cross over Flash and Green Arrow. I haven't seen Supergirl yet, but they have that. They have a Supergirl.
I didn't know that on CW.
And then they have obviously Gotham, which is
will
Fox.
not
It
cross
won't
over
because it's Fox.
It's Fox.
It's Fox, and that's unfortunate. But that's why I said like having being like a whore and selling out your rights to all these different places. You can't keep that continuity.
Well, that's
with everything that's been going on with their characters.
Well, to mention that, when Marvel first started doing the movies, they were going bankrupt comic book wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember going to Comic-Con one year when I was 10, 11 years old, and it was Make My Marvel! And I got free posters every time I said it. I was young. I got so many posters. And I came home with them all, and they were huge. And then all of a sudden, the next year, I went, and I was like, I want to go find the Marvel booth, right? It's Comic-Con. It was literally 2 tables.
Wow.
And I talked to my dad about it. He goes, oh no, Marvel's not doing well at all. They're going bankrupt.
Wow.
And it wasn't long after that they released X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And that started bringing them back up. Because
Gotcha.
now Marvel's like, we're going to sell our rights to Fox. We sold our rights to Sony. and Sony made the Spider-Man movies,
Right.
and that brought Marvel right out of the gutter, and they were just back in the game.
That's interesting
And
that you
that-
say that because those, I mean, people. That's very interesting.
DC
because-
was never almost bankrupt. That's the thing. That's the difference.
Yes. Well, DC has also been known to kill off its characters a lot more frequently than Marvel has in the past. But that's interesting. So the studios that people have grown to hate, like Fox and Sony, for not playing ball with the Marvel Universe, and particularly the movie franchises,
May have saved it.
may have saved it. That's a good point. That's very interesting. Sony, at least, we're going to start moving into Marvel now.
Okay.
Sony, at least, is starting to play ball with Disney.
Well, first, I don't know if viewers know this, but Fox owned the rights to X-Men and all the X-Men characters, so mutants. And then Sony owned Spider-Man.
Right.
Sony got the best of the... I think Sony got one of the better deals. But Sony has dropped the ball with Spider-Man big time. After they made the third movie, they rushed Sam Raimi into making this movie with the 3 villains. Venom. They rushed Venom, and they ruined it.
Yes.
Audiences were mad. Fans were mad. Then they fired everybody, and Sony, so they didn't want to lose their contract like we talked about earlier.
Right.
They had to make another movie, so they reinvented it.
Right.
They did it with Andrew Garfield, and then the Gwen Stacy story. Fantastic movie. I liked it.
Yeah, I
Seeing
did
the origin
too.
story, I love Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man because he almost can relate to him. He's like
Yeah.
this nerdy kid that never was popular, and then all of a sudden he got these powers.
Well, and they focused on his parents'
And
story,
they were focused on it, which
exciting.
it was exciting. It was different too.
Yep.
A lot of people didn't like it because of a reboot. Why rebooting a movie after
But
10 years?
It was a reboot. Within 10 years.
But it was a remake,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Within
And
10 years.
Then
it's
they made a
annoying.
second movie, and they're leading into the Sinister Six. I thought it was great.
And-
They got Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a great done movie. I thought Andrew Garfield plays Peter Parker,
Yes.
that way guy,
Yes.
that witty,
Yeah. Banter.
banter. But
Well-
then they were going to the Sinister Six, and then they felt like they weren't going to make it with the third movie, and they got scared, which is great for all his fans because we've seen all these Marvel movies from
Right.
Disney. And then Sony said, we're going to make a deal with Disney, and now Spider-Man is now in the Avengers Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is fantastic.
Which-
Now Sony's playing ball now.
Right. Well, and it's unfortunate because I would have liked to see one more movie with Sony with all the building up that they did with the Sinister Six
I
because
would too.
there's so many great story arcs that we could have seen.
Fantastic.
And
story
they
arcs.
actually were doing it right, I thought, for that time around. But it's under the bridge now. We got Spider-Man in Marvel with Disney, and at least now in time for the Infinity Wars and
for
everything
sure,
else.
and we should
Civil War and all those.
also mention that Marvel will be pulling in some characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show.
Right.
Agent Carter's all within it. You got Daredevil now on Netflix. Netflix is a game player now
Yep.
with Disney,
Yes.
or they say ABC Studios. We know who owns that.
right. It's
And they're
Disney.
making things, and that's all inside the same universe. And they're going to start creating the Defenders
yes.
on Netflix, which I'm sure will have a deal with something with the Infinity War, because that's a lot of superheroes.
Right. For 2 seconds before we totally take over with Disney, Fox and particularly the Fantastic Four, and
Oh my
and the
God,
reason why
yeah.
I want to bring up the X-Men in the comics real quick is because of Fox's willingness to not play ball with Disney, the comics has stopped. For as of right now, they have gotten rid of Fantastic
Correct.
Four. Marvel has, and now in
Every
X-Men,
character they draw new in X-Men, if Disney does that for the comics, Fox gets the rights to do that with the movie universe.
Well, and they are actually right now in the comic world killing off the X-Men. They're killing them all
They
off.
are.
So it's the companies that aren't playing ball.
there's no proof
with
that
Disney.
Disney's doing this on purpose.
Oh, okay,
There's no proof
right.
to say that.
But they are doing it.
But they are.
They are doing it. There's no action figures. There's no Hugh Jackman Wolverine toys coming out in the near future.
There
I
is
can
a
tell you
rumor,
that.
though, that since they bombed this last Fantastic Four movie, that Fox traded that rights back to Disney so they can make TV shows of X-Men.
Interesting.
They did. That's a rumor that may. I don't see why it couldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
Well, so now we only got about like 5 minutes left in our podcast. So let's
Let me mention this though before
Okay.
we really move on. Fox, back when Marvel was spread across the studios, Marvel was on Fox and Sony.
yes.
That led Disney, when they bought Marvel and they started to they started investing in Iron Man because they saw the movie
Right,
and all the
right.
script, or however they did it. And then that's before they bought it. And then when the movie took off and went great, they bought Marvel and they started making these movies. The Avengers are not that great of a comic.
Right.
So you're looking at Disney that took these this comic that wasn't even that popular. I didn't like Iron Man. I didn't like Thor.
Right.
Fuck, I hated. Wow, that's our one F word.
That's our second one, but that's okay. I said that today.
We got and Captain America. I hated Captain America. It was so boring. Like, who cares about Boy Scouts?
Right.
The Hulk was interesting enough, and they took them and they made these awesome movies.
Yes. Yeah.
And they made this huge universe, and it's the universe that people are all into.
And
It's not just if they were standalone movies. I'm not sure if they do great. They just did Ant-Man.
Yeah.
That was an amazing movie.
Well, the list of coming
What?
down. Yeah, the list of movies. If you hear their titles, you're like, why would I go see that?
Because they're doing a great job with them.
They are. And what they're doing is they're doing a great job in telling their origin stories in their private movies and then mixing them in with the bigger movies. And I love the fact that they share characters in other movies. You know, with like Hawkman and a couple others, and Ant-Man, all the Wasp is being shown. Like, there's so many characters being shown. I think that's what's so cool about it. You can watch an Avengers movie and see characters from Strictly that have only been in Iron Man. Or you see Captain America and you see characters that were introduced in other movies.
You're gonna have to watch other movies, just like in the comics. You're gonna see like, oh, find out more about this from this issue of Wolverine in this episode of Captain America, because those two should be together. Well, that's a whole other story. So you're gonna see at the end of the movie saying, if you didn't understand what's going on in this character, you need to watch this movie or this list of movies.
And the foreshadowing is just
amazing. There's already like websites to like what order to watch everything with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes filled in.
Well, because we're running out of time, let's talk about that real quick. The idea of Marvel being so unprecedented right now with the idea. I mean, last time I thought of something like this, honestly, was like Bond movies. You were excited to see a new Bond movie. Bond movies have gone on for like 20 some odd films. And for the first time ever, like Marvel movies are like that new thing. But what's different, and Bond movies would always be an individual event or story, which is great. The character exists, the other characters he works with exist, but this is the first time where like this massive world has been created where all of these characters exist and coexist in their films. But also with TV, we have Sam Jackson doing guest appearances on S.H.I.E.L.D., and like the S.H.I.E.L.D. plots relate to like Captain America movies, and
their finales end right when the movies come out.
I mean, this is massive. They're tackling movies, they're tackling TV shows, and even the comics. Even actually, XD, Disney XD, the cartoon shows that they are starting to pump out. Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, all of them. They all are tapping this one universe.
Are those aren't part of the same universe, though? They relate probably to the same universe, but they are their own separate entity.
But the style of the movie characters relates into their animation, and I just think that's
because that's what's selling. That's what's doing great.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, I enjoyed the Thor movies.
Yes,
and Thor is a boring character to me.
Well, we're running. We're down to like the last 2 minutes. So your thoughts on DC? What are you most disappointed with, and what do you most like? And then same thing with Marvel.
I'm disappointed that they dropped the ball. I feel like the universe could be huge. They could encompass everything.
What do you think about Ben Affleck? Do you think he's going to make it?
I hate him as a person.
Do you think this will
Sometimes he can act really well. I mean, only time could tell. I think it'll probably be a pretty good movie overall. I mean, what I say a good movie is something that entertains you and pulls you out of reality and brings it into that world.
Will Smith is Deadshot.
And I'm sure that'll do. Oh, and Suicide.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. Like, do you think? I mean, think about all
Jared Leto.
Yeah,
Joker.
I got to be honest with you. I'll just mention DC to me has broken my heart. They have dropped the ball. Their comics are still decent. The 52, I enjoyed reading the 52. You have Aquaman coming into a restaurant ordering fish sticks, and everyone looks at him funny. I mean, like to me, that writing was brilliant. And to have that kind of comic and then do these kind of movies, like, let's see, we got Superman, we've got Batman, we've got Justice League, and we got Suicide Squad. You don't want to do, like, an Amazon movie strictly about Wonder Woman from beginning to end? Green Lantern?
As soon as Disney announced all the movies coming out from Marvel with actual titles, DC announced, or Warner Brothers announced, all the DC movies with no titles.
Yeah.
Just say, we're going to release a movie here.
Yeah.
Just to compete.
I got to be honest with you, because we're winding down. I think if DC's Batman vs. Superman movie flops, I think they're done.
But can Marvel keep up the pace? They hit the ground running, and they are running at full speed. I hope they can, and it looks like they are going to keep the pace.
Well, they got weird movies coming out, but at the same time, they've been doing a great job so far, so we'll just see how it goes. You've been listening to Entertainment Banter. This is Matt and Joel.
And this is Joel.
Thank you for listening.
I'm done.
If you thought that was funny, go take out the trash for your mom and come back and watch the next one.